Welcome back, perfect peeps, to Code with Coding Cat.
That felt weird, didn't it?
It did. It's usually perfect.dev. It throws me off
Yeah.
every week. As you can probably tell, we have Kent C Dodds with us. Hey, Kent.
Hello.
With the awesome neon remix sign in the background.
Yeah,
Love it.
somebody told me I need to put it up here, but
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
it's harder to. It's literally just hanging on the hooks that I had already for my lanyards, and so I just threw it up there.
Oh, you're a lanyard keeper. I always wanted to be. They always get shuffled away in my moves, though. They're like, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm glad that I did. I have every lanyard I've ever for every conference I've ever been to, and so now it's kind of a
Incredible.
fun little
Wow.
collection.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My son was collecting mine for a long time. I was like, yeah, you can have these. It was fun.
Sorry.
So we are going to go somewhat fast today because we're going to try to build something pretty crazy in 90 minutes. And, with that said, how's everybody Friday, first of all? Let's at least do a little intro. We always try to do this. Brittany, how was Netlify this week?
It is good. I'm trying to get my last July blog post out today, so hopefully that's going to go well. It's going great, though. How was Apprate?
Apprate was good. Learning a lot, but also having to put my PHP brain back on, which has been 12, 15 years. So I'm having a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. There's some incredibly smart people working on the back end for all this stuff. So it's pretty cool, but working on some fun apps for tutorials and things like that, which has been super fun. I'm digging
That
it.
is very cool.
How about you,
What about
Kent? Anything
remix,
fun this
Kent?
week?
Yeah, this week I'm going to Front End Masters next week and teaching 2 workshops on Remix. And so this week I was working on the tooling around the workshops to make that experience seamless. That's always fun.
Yeah. Those
That's
front
awesome.
end masters workshops are a bear, aren't they?
Yeah. Scheduling a front end master workshop or an egghead course is always a good forcing function for producing content for me.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, without any more ado, is that how you say that? I don't know. Trying to be all proper. So probably in another 10 minutes, once we have some more people on, we will do the drawing for the 5 giveaway for Level Up tutorials. So just supporting our creator community out there. We'll jump out in a bit, but other than that, I think, are you guys ready to code? I know Brittany's kind of running the show today on the coding side, and Kent, you're helping instruct creating a remix app, right?
yes. Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully
Absolutely.
it goes well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, here
Live
we go.
coding.
I
Here we
love it.
go.
I forgot to ask you, are you on a recent version of Node?
Let's see what version I'm running. I think I'm on 16,
Okay.
16.14.2.
Yeah, that'll work
Is that good?
fine.
Okay.
If you were on like 12, then we might have to do an upgrade, but
Yeah.
16 will work.
Okay.
Cool. So do we want to talk about what Remix is, or do you want to just get right into coding?
You can go ahead and give like a brief overview. That might get us to that mark that Alex was mentioning earlier. So
Sure, yeah. So Remix is a web framework for building excellent user experiences for the web. A very strong focus on the web platform and using JavaScript to enhance that experience. So progressive enhancement is a big piece of what we're doing at Remix. And yeah, it's built on top of React Router. So it's basically an evolution of React Router. It brings a whole lot of extra features that React Router hasn't had so far. And in the next week or so, I feel like I've been saying that for a while, but really this time, probably next week, we'll have released React Router version 6.4, I think, or maybe it's 6.5. I can't remember. The next minor bump of React Router that brings in a lot of the features of Remix. So loaders, error boundaries, actions, forms, fetchers, bunch of stuff. And this is really exciting because it means that it's actually very straightforward to migrate an existing React app to Remix if you're using React Router. If you're not using React Router, you're probably using Next and maybe Gatsby, and those have different migration stories, but for React Router apps, which is most React apps in the world, migrating to Remix is actually pretty straightforward, thanks to the fact that it's just built on top of React Router, and we're bringing lots of the React Router or Remix features to React Router. So,
Can I ask you
yeah,
a quick question on the router side too?
yeah.
I've heard whispers that Remix routers is starting to branch out too, and there's a Remix router Svelte in the works.
Yeah. So we're not working on the Svelte router ourselves, but
Austin Krim, right?
yes, Austin is
Yeah.
playing around with that. So in the process of bringing Remix features into React Router, what we're actually doing is we're taking React out of the router, and we're making a new router called Remix Router that has all these new features. It is, and then we're going to turn React Router into an adapter for Remix Router. And so, like, no breaking changes or anything. It's just new features. But yeah, by doing that, we do open the floodgates for any JavaScript framework to use the router. And there's a lot to do with the router for your application. So especially with the features that the Remix router will have. So yeah, we have published a pre-release of this, which is why we talk about it. We try not to talk about stuff that hasn't shipped yet, but this is technically shipped because we do have a pre-release. And so people have taken the pre-release, and we've got somebody who's worked on an Angular router with Remix Router, and somebody who's worked on Svelte, Austin, and Vue and Preact. So yeah, the lots of exciting developments in the future. It's not like we're necessarily hedging our bets, because, like, let's face it, React is still like 3 times as widely used as the rest of them combined. But it's still it is not everybody wants to use React, and so this gives them a chance to get these really cool features without having to use React.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for talking about that for a minute.
Yeah,
So
cool.
another question that I had on Remix is, so from my understanding of it, just briefly, like reading through the docs and learning a little bit about it, is that it's kind of this middleware between the server. So it handles the requests from the server back to the client. Is that right? And can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So we like to call Remix Center Stack because it manages the network tab for you. So by that, I mean all of the data loading. You write the server code for loading the data. And so everything, the code that you write for getting data is all written on the server. So you can talk directly to a database, or you can make a fetch request or whatever. And you just, you can do your await and whatever normal JavaScript stuff you're going to do in there. And then you return a response, a web fetch response. So you say new response, whatever, or we have some helpers, because most of the time you're going to be returning JSON. And then on the client side, in your component, which may or may not be client side, because you can be doing server rendering too, but in your component, you use a hook called use loader data. And so Remix is managing getting that data from that server code that you're writing into your component. And so that's why we say we're managing the network tab. And even more than that, we also manage mutations for you. So you need to make a change to the data. We've got a form component that you can use. And when the user submits a form, we'll take care of serializing that up the same way the browser would, and send it to the backend where your action code is waiting to handle that action. And again, it's just on the backend, so you can use private keys and you can talk to a database or whatever you need to do. It's not like a use effect soup thing. You're just writing regular JavaScript code. And Remix manages that entire network communication piece for you. And what's cool is Remix emulates what the browser does, and so your code remains the same whether or not you want to actually have JavaScript in the client. And so it actually works if the JavaScript fails to load, or the user disables their JavaScript or whatever, which of course most people don't do. But and there are reasons that we, sorry. there are reasons that we want JavaScript in the client, and so this is where the progressive enhancement piece comes in, and Remix, when JavaScript does show up in the client, Remix will emulate the browser. And so what's really great about that, though, is not that like, oh, well, we're resilient if JavaScript doesn't load. Like, that's great. But what's really good is the fact that it works without JavaScript is evidence that you don't have to manage state in the client. Because if the app works without any JavaScript, then obviously you don't need state in the client. And so no Redux, no Apollo, no MobX, no React Query, no context. None of that stuff is necessary for application state management. Now, context can be useful for other things, just not application state management. Now, of course, Remix and React Router are using context for what they're doing, but the fact is that you don't have to use context. You don't have to manage any state. And you also only use effect for like focus management and stuff. So Remix makes the hard parts of React a lot easier, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, that is really nice too. I feel like there's been a lot of talk since David K. Piano's talk at, was it Reactathon?
Yeah.
Where he said use effect is going away.
Yeah. He's not super thrilled with use effects. I mostly share his feelings, I guess. Yeah, the use event hook that was introduced soon after that talk, that one's interesting. I think that I'm a little concerned that people are going to start overusing that hook. The fact is that use effect, it helps you uncover problems in your code that you never would have back in the class component days. So like the sorts of problems that you discover in production, not during development. Use effect is so frustrating because it reveals all those problems to you during development. Yeah, when they happen in production, you just don't realize that there was something you could have used in development that would have helped you avoid those problems. I've got a blog post about this on epicreact.dev/articles. It's about shoot, what is it called? I'll have to grab a link to it because I've got a couple on there
Did you
about
say
use
Epic? Epic.dev?
it's epicreact.dev.
Epic React.
Yeah.
Dev.
And
/
there are
articles.
two blog posts. And you said I could put them just right here and people will see them, maybe.
Yeah.
Or actually, I'll put them in the Twitch chat. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
That's where we want to be. So the first one is how React uses closures to avoid bugs. And by using use event, you are switching from the new default to the old default. And this blog post will demonstrate what the old default was and how it caused bugs. And then the second blog post I shared is the latest ref pattern, which is basically the use event hook. And so, yeah, you can actually implement the use event hook yourself today. But I just think it's so important to understand how React uses closures to avoid bugs before you start using it. And so I'm a little concerned that people are going to start overusing that use event hook. But we'll see. People definitely have good reason to be frustrated by use effect. And I've got good news for you. You basically don't need to use it very much when you're using Remix. And when you do, it's for focus management and stuff, which is really easy. Like it's not complicated. So, I mean, relatively. Should never use the word easy when describing coding. But yes.
I had one clarification throughout all that. I know it was a minute ago, but I know like Brittany had to be running Node. Is there any other backends that Remix can handle, or is it all Node based?
Yeah, great question. So Remix, we take pride in the fact that it runs anywhere you can run JavaScript. Okay. No, I don't think anybody's tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure you could get it running in a service worker even. And so, yeah, we deploy to Cloudflare workers. We deploy to Dino. We deploy to actually Bun. You can use Bun with Remix already. Yeah, deploy wherever JavaScript is sold. Like Akamai Edge workers. So a lot of people say, yeah, I'd love to use Remix, but there's no way my company is ever going to let me deploy Node in production. maybe not a lot of people, but I've heard that quite a bit. And I think that while that is, there are arguments to be had. I worked at PayPal, so like the place that made Node in production at scale like popular, and so I'm super into that Node in production. But for those people who are like, no, we're not shipping Node, you're probably using Akamai, and you can use Remix in production with Akamai. So, and even in those situations, if you really just like, no, we're not doing any runtime of JavaScript on a server. Fine. That's why Remix Router is going to be a thing. So you can get most of the or a lot of the UX and DX experience or improvements. But there's a point where like you cannot do better than actually running it on a server from a UX and DX perspective. But we're going to try and make it as good as possible for people who just want to stick files on a CDN.
Love it.
So.
Awesome.
If that's it before the code, I'll do our little drawing.
I was going to ask if that gave enough time for a special surprise.
Okay. So we are doing a giveaway for Level Up Tutorials. We're an affiliate over there, and we thought it'd be fun to give away five, I think, year-long memberships. Yeah, that sounds right. So we had everybody kind of hit our tweet, and if you want to put your name in the next 2 seconds, no, just kidding. We have everybody. I'm gonna spin this crazy wheel, and hopefully it works correctly. And I'll do 5 names, and I'll probably do a few extra in case the 5 don't respond. But here we go.
Awesome.
Man, that was quite the spin.
It was. Yeah. That was crazy.
It's very
I did this
Google
the other
colors
day at a Google developer group, and there was like 1,000 names. It was crazy. So Matthew Wigley? I don't know. Matthew Higley. There we go.
I read that completely different. I read it Matt the Wiggly.
That's probably what it is. Okay, I think I remove, and then we can do more. Okay, yep. So here's
I think it
our
is
second
Matthew
one.
Higley, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking Matthew Higley.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matthew, if we're wrong.
Yes.
I'm totally gonna botch this one. So Clara Manova.
Wait,
I'm not gonna attempt that
trying
one,
to
but
write
you've
these
won as
down.
well.
Are you saving these somewhere? Or is this
Yeah,
going
they go in our results. So
okay. I'm not gonna type anymore then.
Bumsy 52 looks like. Yep. I did this in an event. There was like so many names. You didn't even know who won. It was like such a sliver.
Yeah, we're just not gonna remember. I can't talk today. Remember them, Anthony. We're just gonna have to rewatch the video back.
Yeah, we'll watch the video. It'll be fine. Jeff, looks like you won. One more. One last one. Ooh. Oh my gosh, that's a tight one.
Oh,
AZ 3 cent.
That is a great name.
Maybe it's eCent. I don't know. Okay, I think we're good with that. We have our 5 winners. I'll do a couple extra in case like I don't get a response from them, but that's the winners for Level Up Tutorials. I'll be reaching out via DM and
Congrats, everyone.
give you your new usernames. So
Yay.
thanks for signing up, everybody. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the goal today is that we are going to be building a fake books application written in Remix. Are we good with that?
Who's excited about accounting?
Dashboards are something that are important though, right?
I'd be more excited if someone did my accounting for Coding Cat for me. Cool. So Brittany's going to be driving today and showing us how to code Remix. And if
I'm not worried at all about that.
The right screen.
See if
my guess is it's going to be a little tight because we have like a window within a window. So I'm probably going to switch us out to this mode and then often probably just take us away here and there. So hopefully that'll work.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, if you stay on that developer blog, we can copy a little bit of that to get started.
Okay.
And so if you go down a little further, there's a snippet of code. You went too far. It's npx create remix template.
Oh, we're going to do a template. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna try to follow along with you guys. We'll see.
and actually, just you know what, skip the template nonsense. Just type in npx create remix, and then it will prompt you for the rest.
Yes. So this will start our CLI. We want to go ahead and install the following packages. Yes.
Yep.
And I'll go ahead and make this bigger for now.
Yeah, so npx is temporarily installing create remix onto your machine, and then it will execute it. And when that happens, it will ask you a couple of questions, and I will tell you the answers to provide for what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Where would you like to create it?
Put it wherever, you just call it whatever you want. You can call it Fake Books Remix or
Fake Books Remix, because that's what we're creating.
Yep. We can't see it, Alex. Yeah, there we go. So do a pre-configured stack for production.
Okay.
And indie. So these are all named after music subgenres. Go ahead and select indie. I can talk about it. And let's stick with TypeScript because I can't even imagine. And then yes, let's install.
Okay.
Okay, so the music subgenres, originally we were making these stacks and we would call them after where we were deploying them to, but then realized that didn't make any sense because you could use, we actually had two that were both deploying to fly in what became the indie stack and the blue stack. And so we're like, well, so this is the one that uses SQLite and this is the one that uses Postgres. And it also is like deployed to multiple regions. So it's like a cluster. And so like, what are we going to call this? It would just be like a ridiculously long name that had all of the features that it implements. And so we decided to go with something that does not describe what it is to force people to go to remix.run/stacks to learn about them, because there's a lot that goes into the decision. The other cool thing about this is that you can actually use that template flag and point to any repo on GitHub or any just like a tarball on your internal network or whatever, even at like a local directory, and it will generate the project for you as well. So yeah.
I think the templates team at Netlify created the K-pop stack.
Yeah, that's right. I love the K-pop stack. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so this one deploys to fly, or it's configured to deploy to fly. You could deploy it somewhere else if you wanted. And it uses SQLite and Prisma. And yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. So if you run npm run dev or cd into the directory.
Yeah, I'll have to go in and I'm going to go ahead and open up a new window here.
Yeah, there we go.
I have a question. You said that you would be able to change the deployment target. Is there an easy way to do that, or do you have to create a new deployment target? Because I noticed in the CLI when we chose a template, it didn't ask us about that.
Yeah. So if you go with just the basics, then it will ask you, or it'll present a couple deployment targets and generate a project for you like that. So yeah, like if you were planning on deploying to Netlify, for example, then I would probably just use the K-pop stack. Even though we do have a basic template, unless you're not planning on having a database, which I suppose not everybody cares about having a database, but the K-pop stack is pre-configured for I believe Planet Scale or something.
I think it uses Supabase, and there's
that's right.
in there. K-pop remix stack. Let's see if I can get it up.
Yeah, K-pop remix is not going to get you what you are looking for.
So yeah, it uses Supabase, Tailwind, Cypress, Prettier, ESLint, TypeScript, and deployed to Netlify on Edge by default.
Yeah. Yep. So a lot of the same things that we've got in the indie stack, except the indie stack deploys to Fly and uses SQLite.
Okay. So. Fly and SQLite. And does it use Cypress for end-to-end testing too?
Yep.
Interesting. So we're going to do a lot of the same stuff today. Okay.
Yeah. So. And then, yeah, if you do want to change your deployment target later, then you have two options. You can either just look up the configuration files and stuff that you need to deploy to your new deployment target, or you can spin up a new app and then just copy the app directory over, and then make maybe a couple changes. But one of the cool things about Remix is that it normalizes platforms for you, and so most of your app code will be the same. The main differences will be how you're accessing data and stuff, because in a serverless environment is quite different from a long-running server environment, and so sometimes, like, you're making a database connection for a long time versus just like temporarily during the life of the serverless function.
So they use that as like adapters, right?
I
For
think
each platform.
each one will have different adapter, or like, so we've got a Remix Run Netlify adapter, for example.
Yep.
So cool. Let's go ahead and just run what we have. So if you go npm run dev,
It already installed everything for us during the setup, right?
yep. And so now you can go to localhost 3000.
Where did my browser go? Fun.
There we go. So you've got the Indy stack, and it has sign up and login that actually does work. I don't think we're gonna have time to do much with that today. We'll just build this as a auth-free accounting app, which probably is breaking some laws somewhere. But
Those are the safest apps.
yeah, but we can always we'll keep the auth around, but you could always add that later to your app later.
Okay. I just wanted to see what was in the file and folder structure here, just to kind of see what's going on. So we've got the app file, and routes, I'm assuming, is where all of our routes are living.
Yep, the app directory is where most of your code will be written. There's also the Prisma file that has database related stuff, and I will since we're not learning about Prisma today, I will give you something to copy into that for our data models and stuff here in a bit. So actually, why don't we do that right now? It is the best way to send you these code snippets through the chat in StreamYard. I didn't think about that.
You could do that or Discord us, either one.
Yeah, either way. I don't know if I am in your Discord server.
Let's see what happens if I send it. Nope.
Oh yeah. Oh, it cuts it off. Yeah.
Okay. So Brittany, what is your Discord?
Oh, that's a good question.
Alex, do I have you on here?
No.
I'm in yours as well. It should be at CoderCatDev.
Okay.
It's just my name. So if you typed in my name, it should pop up.
You also, I need the 4-digit number at the end.
Mine's 1988.
Hey,
which is not the year I was born.
That's the year I was born.
That's the year you were born.
Oh, you're making me feel
People
old.
think it's the year I was born, but it's not. I was born in 82.
Huh. Well, that's fun. Okay, so I guess I need to have the correct capitalization. So is it capital B and capital
It looks
P?
like capital B and there's a space and capital P in the username, which is strange.
There we go. I sent you a friend request so we can be friends.
Yay.
Remember when it used to be Facebook official? It's like, yeah, we're Facebook official.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends. And now on Discord, like, no one does that. And I think I had to switch it because I was getting a lot of random messages. So.
Yeah. I do not allow people to add me as friends unless we're in the same server, and then I don't accept invitations unless I know them.
Yes, exactly. So where is this going to go? Into the Prisma?
Into the schema.prisma. Yep.
Schema. Okay. Oh, is this already in here, or is this?
Yeah. We've got stuff that was bootstrapped for you, but yeah, if you just copy paste over that, then it's going to add deposits, line items, customers, invoice.
It looks like I don't have an extension that is showing the IntelliSense.
Yeah, you're not getting any highlighting. But
syntax happening.
Yeah, that's okay. We're not going to spend any time in here. We're not talking about Prisma. We're
okay.
We're here to talk about Remix. So the next thing that you do need to do though is run a script to update your database. So we're going to make a migration. So you can either open a new tab or close the Remix server, and then run npx prisma migrate dev.
Is it a dash or
It's space.
space?
Yep,
Migrate.
migrate and then space dev.
Dev.
And it will ask you for the name, or yeah, say yes. Yeah, we are dropping the
Enter
note
name?
table.
And just
Say yes, yeah. And then the name, you can call it fake books or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And
okay.
now it has updated. Actually, yeah, your database is now in sync with your schema. Yeah, the client was generated. Perfect. So now if you try to run npm run dev, it's not going to work because we dropped the notes database. So it might open up, but if you were to like log in and try to use the notes part of the app, then which was like generated for you, that wouldn't work. So let's go ahead and if you go to the app directory now, go ahead and delete the notes directory inside of routes, because we're not going to have that anymore. And the notes.tsx file, that's the parent route for that section of the app. It's in the routes directory.
Notes, there it is.
Yep. So we'll delete that. And then the models directory has a note.server. We'll delete that.
Okay.
So what was generated for you was a notes app. So we're just getting rid of the stuff that we don't need anymore.
Nice.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to do one other thing that that you don't need, just so we can speed up to the remix piece of this. And that is, I'm going to give you all of the Prisma stuff for the app that we're going to build. Okay. So let me see if I can just move or drag and drop these files, all of these files. I'm not sure whether the user file was changed from the original. So I'm just giving you all of them, and just copy paste all of those over to the models directory.
I feel like I should play music during this.
We can make music during this.
And I'm sorry, which directory did you say to put them in?
The models directory. So these are files that are responsible for managing the communication between your app and Prisma.
Okay.
I do have night driving loaded. Let's see.
Yeah, I was actually going to start singing Christmas songs. So
jingle bells would be nice.
My son has been listening to Christmas music like for the last 2 weeks.
I had a guy I used to work with, to cheer him up, he would listen to Christmas music any month of
it
the
does
year.
cheer you up, right?
Yeah,
like,
it was great.
I mean, I can't blame him. But there's a reason I made a separate Spotify account for my children. So
that's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Cool. Okay, so
I have Kids Bop on mine.
Nice. Cool. Okay, so now we've got a data model. We have ways for accessing the data. Now, the last thing that we need for the data piece of this, and yeah, I'm glad that we didn't actually just like have you clone something directly. So you can see these are the things, concerns that are common for building an app. You need to have a data model. You need to have ways of accessing the data. The other one is that's really common for local development is a way to seed the data. So I'm going to give you my seed script, which is a seed.ts file inside the whoops, no, hold on. Let's just delete that. Never mind. Inside the Prisma directory. So let me reveal in Finder and drag and drop that for you.
Christmas in July.
This should be the last giant piece of code that you're going to copy.
And where does that one go to?
That will go in the Prisma directory.
In the Prisma.
So right there, right
just
next
at the
to
root.
Yep. And and then you can delete the seed.js file, because we're not using JS. And actually, there is one other thing you're going to need to do. I forgot about that. In the package JSON, there is a Prisma property at the very bottom, and it is referencing the JS file. I totally forgot we changed that. We need it to reference the TS file. So we're going to use TS node for that. And The other thing is we'll probably, oh no, we've got TS Node installed already, so we're good there.
So this is the right command now?
I just sent you.
Oh, you sent me a new one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's basically the same thing, but it just allows us to run.
It has TS Node instead. Yep.
There we go. Cool. Yeah, I guess that was the only thing. Just add a TS dash. So cool. Great. So now you can open up your terminal and run npx prisma db seed. All of those have spaces between them. And that will get some seeded data into your database.
Okay. The
Boom.
seed command has been executed.
Booyah.
Prisma is so cool.
Fun fact, it has that little emoji with the plant growing.
Yeah.
So they did not used to do that. And so that's why I added database has been seeded. That log was from me with the emoji. And I think, I don't know whether this is true, but I think that they saw that I did that and they're like, oh, what a good idea. And they stole my idea. So now you have 2 of those. But like I said, I don't know for sure. So anyway, now we've got data in the database. We've got a way to access it. Let's finally get to the remix piece of this and make a route that just displays our customers. So if you go to, let me just think of the way that I want to structure this. Yeah, so let's do, yeah, let's see. See, I don't want to like give you too much because we do want to create some of this stuff, but let's just make it a go to your index.tsx route there. Actually, you know what? Let's make a brand new route. I was going to modify this one, but we'll make a brand new one. Just call it customers.tsx. We'll probably delete this later. But I want to just demonstrate a couple of things here. So now we are going to create what is called a loader. So you're going to export a function called loader.
Is it const loader?
Yeah, I used to do const loader, but now we changed the way our typings work, and it works a lot. I just prefer function declarations.
Function loader and like.
Yep, just like that. It's also going to be an async function because we're going to be talking to the database in here.
Oh, it goes.
No, you got it right.
Okay, it was up here.
Const declarations ruined everything. Function declarations are where it's at. Anyway, so now in here we're going. In here we're going to grab the customers, the list of customers. So hold on a second. Where did my? So we're going to get use a function in our customer server file called get customer list items, and we've got a special way to import those things that's built into Remix, and that is to use this little tilde. So I just sent that along to you.
Is this an alias?
Yeah. So it aliases to the app directory. So when you do that tilde, that's going to be the app directory. That means no more back ... nonsense.
So does this come by default with Remix, and can you customize that?
No.
No, okay, it's not in the configuration.
Not customizable.
This is something that I do with FeltKit, is the alias with the Vite config is we can do, it comes with a $sign, and I don't like the $sign, so I use an @ symbol, but.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We do @ for everything.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for customizability. There's also something to be said for copyability.
Conventions, yeah.
And so making it so that it's the same for everybody just makes it easier. Convention over configuration, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, get customer list items. So this is for listing our customers out. So if you go to line 4 and have a customer's the variable that's assigned to get customer list items. Yeah, just like what Copilot is saying.
Yes, I love Copilot.
So instead of just returning customers, though, we're going to return a response. And we have a helper to create a response, but you could literally just do return new response and then JSON, stringify, and all of that stuff if you wanted to. But we're going to use the helper. It's called JSON, and it comes from Remix Run Node.
Okay. So
So
what?
if you type out JSON, it should actually autocomplete. No, all lowercase. It's a function. And you're going to go, nope, not that one. Yeah, there's other
There's too
JSON
many.
things.
It did import something from Stream Consumers.
Yeah, that's not us.
That's not right.
Yeah, I think that's a
Control
Node
Z.
thing, maybe.
IntelliSense is not doing its job right here.
Yeah. Well, it was in that list. There are like 3 ways you can get that. But I'll just give it to you in Discord.
If you type JSON again, can we just pick the list from the list?
JSON.
Yeah, so it's actually it's
This
not even
one.
in that list. Yeah, it's sort of that one. So you can tab that one and then change change server runtime to Node.
Oh,
To
okay.
Node runtime or just Node?
Just Node.
Whoops, not that. Node.
There we go. Okay, so now you're going to call JSON and just pass it to the customers.
Okay.
And then you'll want to return that.
Okay.
Okay, sweet. So now you can actually save this and go to your browser and go to localhost 3000/customers. And what you've made is a resource route. So since we don't have any UI that's exported from this route, Remix is saying, oh, you just want this to be like an API.
It's an API endpoint, yeah.
Yeah. So no API directory or whatever. You'd put these wherever you like. On my site, I have the ability for users to download their data, and so I just made a resource route at me/download.json. And
so how do you differentiate an API endpoint route from an actual route that you would want to create with that data?
Yeah, great question. So on line 8, add a export default function, and we're going to make a component. And you can call this component customer route. I would give it a name. You don't have to, but I would just call it customer route. Yeah.
Is the convention to capitalize?
It's a component, so yeah. And then in here, sure, go ahead and let Copilot
Sure,
do that.
Copilot.
Oh my goodness, I might have to actually pay for Copilot.
Copilot's amazing. So then on line 10, just above that line, we need to get the customers from somewhere.
Yep.
You're going to say const customers equals use loader data.
Const customers, not that, use loader data.
Yeah. And that's coming from Remix Run React. There we go. That one worked.
Perfect.
Hooray.
That one did work.
Okay, so TypeScript is going to complain. Let's just stick with this for right now, and I'll show you how to make TypeScript happy. So save that, and then go over to your browser and refresh. We can't do automatic refresh on a resource route, but yeah, so there you go. There are your customers.
So just in the same file, you have your loader. Nice. It's very similar to Next.js, where you use like get static props or get server side props and just return it in, but it's not coming in as props. You're just using the loader data hook.
Yeah, and then on top of this, I'm guessing we're not going to have time for this today, but maybe if we add a mutation and we added a customer to that list, then Remix would automatically update our data for us.
Okay. So
yeah, people always say, oh, loader is just get static props. No. It's nothing like that. Or get server side props. No. Remix does a lot more for you from that. And we'll probably get to that, I think.
I do have to say that I like that this is TypeScript and I haven't written any TypeScript and it's only complaining about one thing in this file.
Yeah, and check this out. So you're going to love this. This is so rad. So you're going to update your use loader data to use a generic that looks like what I just sent you.
Okay,
so we may get here, but I think the thing that Brittany and I were talking about before this is trying to understand, and you answered a lot of these questions before, Kent, for me, but how this will end up being faster than a statically. So get static props in Next.js, like, and I know we're like apples and oranges type of scenario here, but do we want to talk about that now, or should we just get through this?
Yeah, we can talk about this. So if you did this statically, then your list of customers. Oh, and by the way, Brittany just did it. Type of loader. Boom. Now everything is typed across the
Yes,
wire.
no, everything just
That's awesome.
works.
It's magic. It's amazing. I love it. Yeah.
No
So like,
interface.
it's nuts. It's so cool. So yeah, if you were to do this statically, then the list of customers would be and would forever be what they were at the time you built your site, right? And so that's probably not going to work when you start thinking about, oh, I just added a new customer. Do I need to rebuild my whole site again? No, I don't want to do that. So what do? You say, well, I'm going to load this in the client at runtime, because the client is all I've got when I do a static site. I don't have a server. I have a build server. And if I want to rebuild every time there's a mutation, I can do that. And now I'm inventing ISR, which is reinventing what
Was
the
just gonna say
platform
your
it does.
DPR.
So like I could go on a big thing about ISR and how it's just like trying to reinvent what the platform already does. But so then you're loading in the client. And so what that means is that the browser has to go to the CDN to go get your JavaScript and all of that, HTML, whatever. And then it has to make a request to go get the data. And your data request is going to hit some endpoint that is some indirection there. Like I've got to find what the URL is. I've got to make an API route and all of this. And now, so like the developer experience is worse. It's not in the same file there. And so when that response comes back, now we have all of our customers. So this is going to be faster. And in our demos and comparisons, we found that even the initial page load of like time to first byte, of course, it's going to be faster on a CDN, but it actually is not even that much faster. Especially if this matters so much to you, then you'll probably want to deploy to the edge, and you're looking at like 100 milliseconds, maybe 200 milliseconds. That's fast enough, and no loading spinners or anything. Like, isn't it neat how we've just written all of this stuff and we haven't talked about a pending UI at all?
Yeah.
Like it's literally just like, I've got my customers on the page. There's no need for a pending UI. I think that's pretty cool. Now, of course,
I think the biggest thing is it's been like that time to first byte and lighthouse scores, and like how that starts to look, I guess, is always my biggest question. Because for all of our stuff, like when we're updating blog posts and releasing, like yours just came up, so like you were on our schedule. Our schedule needs to update because you'll fall off of it. When we pull you off, we actually have to have a webhook triggered to do the rebuild. Not rebuild, but what's the word? Revalidate on Vercel, and have that come up. So to me, like, I love the idea of not having to do all of that, but still get speed out of it. So if that's kind of the win here, like me conceptually, like at the very high level of this, I'm all in. Like, that's great.
Yes, that is what it is. That is the win here. And it is phenomenal. This is when I rewrote my site in Remix, I didn't totally get that aspect of it before I started. And after I was done, I was like, oh, shoot, like all I want to do is talk about Remix now. And so that's what I do. So
Cool.
cool. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to gloss over the typing awesomeness here. Like, this is phenomenal. Getting like with just that little bit, you get type safety over the
A
wire
really
from the
great
database.
developer experience,
Yeah,
honestly.
like, and there's no fancy like.
And this is parsable too, which is one of my big gripes about TypeScript, is that it makes the code just completely unreadable.
Yes, absolutely. There's one thing of TypeScript in here, and that is the type of loader data. And I think just about anybody can, even if you don't understand what it's doing, like you can gloss over that. Like,
Yeah.
there's like, well, I do this, and now the TypeScript red squigglies go away, and I get autocomplete. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That type of loader, that is coming from Remix, not Prismic, correct?
Yes, yeah. So that use loader data hook is a generic, and that's coming from Remix, and the generic has been codified to
Gotcha.
be able to deal with a loader function like that.
Is this what it is coming out as? What's popping up here?
Yeah. So actually, if you hover over the customers, then you'll get a better view of what that is.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's make this look a little bit nicer. I'm gonna grab. Let me see. Just make sure. Yeah, see, my finished version has a bunch of nice, fancy things that I probably should have spent a little time getting rid of for our stuff today. So let me get rid of this here really quick.
It's using Tailwind, right? So we've got some Tailwind styles in there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yep. So let me grab all of this. I think I'm just deleting stuff so that you don't have to.
Oh,
Like this is
nice.
stuff that you'd want to have later when we're done, but I don't want to add it right from the get-go because I think that would confuse people. So here we go. Okay, so hopefully that all works.
Okay. And where does that go right under
Yeah,
here?
just stick it in place of the
Or
customer
in
component that
place
you've
of
got
this?
already. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
All
now
right.
it's complaining. Oh shoot,
We
yeah,
need to
it's got like
import all of the
icons and stuff. Dang it.
components.
Okay, so and it's complaining about the customers
That's
because let's start
actually
with
a
this.
question I have. So these are components. What's the convention? Just making a components folder in app?
Yeah, it kind of depends. Like, so you can put a components thing in the route directory, and then you can configure Remix to just ignore it and not treat it like a route. So you can
Okay.
co-locate components if you want to. But thanks to the tilde alias thing, it's actually not too terrible to just make a components directory,
Mm-hmm.
especially for smaller apps. If you've got like a big app that's got like tons of sections and routes, then I would probably co-locate those things. But yeah, for something more simple, I think I just put it all in a components directory. So let's fix all these errors as we go. Line 7, you're going to want to turn that into an object. Instead of just returning customers, you return an object that has a customer's property. Now TypeScript is happy about that. And then the nav link, that comes from React Router or Remix Run React. So on line 2, you can just add nav link. Sorry,
Is
it add it to the use loader data import.
Oh, I see.
Great, awesome.
Okay.
And then I think it's just the one component that's left, and you can just delete that, or yeah, just delete the file plus icon. No, leave everything else. We want to create the new customer eventually, but
Just
yeah.
the
So
icon.
Oh, you
itself.
mean
yeah, just
okay.
delete the icon component that you don't have. I
I
could
see.
give that to you, but I don't think we need that for what we're
Yeah,
doing.
it's just we could throw an emoji in there or something.
Yeah. Okay, so since there was an application error, you're not going to get a refresh, so you'll hit reload, and there you go. So now you can click on each one of those, and you'll see like it says, "Hey, not found." This is because we don't have that route yet, and we'll create that here in a second. But yeah, each one of these is coming from your Prisma database. If you go create new customer, that route will go to customer/new. And let's go ahead and I think we should create that that route so we can see this nested routing magic.
Okay.
So
Yep.
let's make under the routes directory, you're going to make a new directory with the same name as the parent directory. So it's customers is the route, the parent route for the routes we want. So customers is going to be the name of the directory.
Okay.
And then
does this get thrown into there?
no, it will stay where it's at because it's the parent layout route.
Okay.
And then in the customers directory, we're going to make an index.tsx. And then here you're going to make, oh yeah, ignore that for now. Here you're going to make a component. So you'll export default function customers index, if you want to call it that. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should just give this to you so we're not wasting our time. There's not much to this one. Oh yeah, here, yeah. I'll just give all this to you, and then we can talk about it because it's kind of cool. So copy paste this into your.
Just the second one.
Actually, you know what? Hold on a second. Let me change that because I've got user authentication stuff in here, and we're skipping that user auth stuff.
Okay.
So let me fix this.
Oh, that first one was still the other file. Never mind.
Okay, fixing this. Okay, so you want the one that has you don't have any customers. with the
Okay.
sobbing emoji. There we go. All right, sweet. Save that and then go ahead and reload. Again, the error. Oh, right. So go to /customers. Oh, haha. Yes. Well, I'll explain why this is happening here in just a second. Let me give you one other thing. And I'm trying to just make sure I'm not giving you more stuff than we've talked about already. So we're going
Are we confusing the router because we have a route of customers and an index route of customers?
No, I'll explain it here in just a second.
Okay.
So this should work. I'm gotta like remove all of the features that we haven't talked about yet. Okay. I think we'll get rid of that also. Okay, cool. So I'll copy that and give this to you. Okay, so copy this into a new file under customers called $customer ID camel case .tsx.
Customer ID,
Yep.
like that?
Yep.
.tsx?
Yep.
Okay.
And then paste that in there. What the devil? Why is it complaining about?
Oh, it just.
Oh, okay, there
It
we
just
go.
needed a second to. It's complaining
Yeah.
about this though.
Oh, currency
It's not
formatter.
export.
Good grief. What is that used for? Yeah, okay, go down to line or to where that's being used. We're gonna just delete it. We don't need the currency formatted.
Oh, okay.
Or you know what? May as well. Let's I'll just give you the currency formatter because you've got the utils file already. So here is the currency formatter that you just put in the utils.ts file. Just stick it at the bottom. Okay, cool. And you can
These are
ignore
just
those.
not being used. Yep.
So save that and then refresh, and we should see.
Now see something? No.
What the devil? Oh, it's
I see like it's doing something here with the route.
So I'll explain what's happening, then we can debug it together. So if you go to the index TSX file in the customers, you'll see the loader there. It's the first thing that it does is it says get first customer. If there's not a first customer, then we'll just return JSON empty, and then you'll render you don't have any customers sobby face. But if there is a first customer, like I'm guessing you're probably going to want to select a customer. You don't need to see like a message that says select your customer. Actually, I think I might know what's going on. So if there is a first customer, then we're going to redirect to that first customer. So that's why you can't get to /customers, is because we're just going to we're going to assume you're going to want to select a customer. So we may as well just select the first one for you. And this will make more sense when it actually starts working too.
Okay.
So if
I see what's causing the redirect though is this line here.
That redirect right there.
Okay.
And that again is just a helper function from Remix that creates a new response. So you could literally just say return new response null, and then give the headers location, and it is whatever that is. So there's not like a bunch of magic weirdness going on here. This is all just platform stuff with just some helper APIs. Okay, so I am a little baffled by why we're getting a 404 not found. If you go to customer ID, that route, oh shoot, yeah, and I forgot to, you can, dang it. Yeah, see, my code is a little older, and it still has like older TypeScript stuff that we used to have to do, and now you don't have to do that anymore. So that stuff on line 7 through 10, you can just delete all of that.
This whole thing?
Yeah, just that whole block. And then you'll go to line 16 and delete that loader data thing, everything between the carets inclusive. And then on line 24, you can add the type of loader data or type of loader that we had before. And then delete the as loader data. This is way better than it used to be.
Yes.
Okay, so my guess is, so we are getting, if you save this, here, you know what? It's very possible that this 404 is coming from our loader. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you a new thing for error handling. so we get more useful error. So this is called a catch boundary. And you'll stick this at the bottom of that customer ID route. And it's just a function that you export called catch boundary. And if you save that and then go and refresh, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's what that is saying is that there's
Someone's mentioning an outlet in parent
yes,
customers file.
we are missing an outlet, but that still shouldn't, but maybe it is. So go to the customers file and we'll just add that really quick.
Okay, the customers.tsx.
Yep. And then scroll down to where we have the .to do with a component called outlet that comes from Remix Run React.
Is it
And then
a self-closing?
Yep, that's the one. Yep. And save that.
It's not importing it. It's coming from Remix Run React, you said?
Yeah, so just add it to the import online too. Okay. Yeah, so it's still not, that is so weird. Maybe restart the server. That would be very unusual. Okay. You should not have to restart the server for this.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, still. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. We're going to debug the, oh, I know what it is. We're redirecting to /sales.
Sales and customers, yeah.
Yeah, because in the finished app, the customers is actually a subroute of sales.
So in this file, we need to take this out.
Yes, thank you. And then get the sales out of there.
Oh, come on, not Twitter.
Let's go to Twitter. Yeah.
Let's just take a break and go to Twitter.
There we go.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
What a pain that was. Okay. So now you can select between these different customers and see how that all gets updated. So I want to call out a couple of things here. First, I want to talk about that catch boundary that we added because we added it. I want to get it out of the way. So if you update the URL in the URL bar, just change it to some nonsense for the ID. Now you're going to see no customer found with the ID of whatever. So now if you go to the customer ID and let's look at that catch boundary for a sec. So this is just saying, or actually, before we look at the catch boundary, go to the loader above. This is responsible for loading the data based on that customer. So you'll see on line 7, it's accepting params. This is because we are using a dynamic route param, route name with the $sign. It's saying, okay, so anything that that would belong in this segment of the URL, I'm going to call customer ID and I will pass that to your loader. And it's also accessible in your components through the use params hook. And so then you can do whatever dynamic thing you need to do for this. And so we're getting the customer ID out of params. And yes, this should be unpossible. That is intentional. You got to chuckle a little bit. I'm talking about line 10. But yeah, so then we say, hey, get me the customer details for this customer ID on line 12. And if there are no customer details, then we are throwing a new response. So that this action of throwing a response is saying, hey, I don't want the rest of this to execute because like it's nonsense. We're in an error state. Something is not right. So we're going to stop execution. So we're going to throw. And Remix is going to catch that and it's going to say, are you a response? Oh, yes, you are. So I will actually render your catch boundary instead.
Okay.
And so it won't even get into your default export. It will just go straight to the catch boundary where you can say, okay, so what was the thing that was thrown? What's the response? What's that status? Oh, it's a 404. I know what to do with a 404. I'm going to say they didn't have a customer found.
So you mentioned that those params are being used over here, which is why we're able to get these nested dynamic routes in this same route.
Yes. So that outlet component that you added is saying, hey, I am a parent route. I'm a layout route. And if I have any children, this is where they go.
Okay. So that's like a slot and svelte. I'm trying to make
it's like a slot and svelte, it's transclusion in AngularJS.
Yep.
It's the children prop in React.
In React. Okay.
So just for everybody else, when you catch that and do a 404, that's almost like Node.js having a response of status 404.
Yeah.
essentially.
So if you look back at the customer ID and look in the loader at the thrown response, I'm the one who creates that response. So I set the status to 404. I could set it
Mm.
to whatever I want, and then my catch boundary can handle that however I like.
And
We also
that's
have,
all happening server side
What happens if you
beforehand, and
throw
then
like
it
a
serves
different?
it.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
breaks if you throw.
yeah.
Cool.
Well, so, and you could handle that as well if you wanted to.
Okay.
So yeah, you just have it be whatever you want. The most sensible thing is a 404. This will be an actual 404. So like a user lands on this page, they're getting a 404 status code. Their browser will be like, hey, this, couldn't find it. Do you want me to use a cache version? Or Google will do the same. And so like status codes actually matter. I don't know, like we kind of got into this thing where everything's a 200. It's not. So yeah, so that's what's going on
200
there.
is okay. Like it's
Yeah,
not okay.
it's not okay. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, throwing a response, you could throw a 200 if you want to. Throwing basically just says, I want this to go into my catch boundary. So that didn't work because our catch boundary is only handling 404s. If you go down to the catch boundary, we just have an if
Oh,
statement that says, if it's not a 404, then just throw an error, because I was not programmed to handle this case. But yeah, so if you go to a nonsensical ID now, it still works.
it's
It's a
the same
thing,
thing. Yeah.
but the browser is going to behave differently in
Yes.
caching and all that too.
Yes.
So yeah, there you go. We got a little exploration in error handling
No,
and
you're
making
perfect.
sure our routes are correctly configured. So let's see. Oh yeah, the other thing is, I wish that we had more time today because it would be pretty cool to talk about like how awesome this nested routing is. Because in a larger application where you've got like dozens of people working on your app, you will have like the shell of the app, the header, the footer, maybe a left nav. And you've got like at big companies I've worked at, there are teams that are responsible for that entire experience, like the header, footer, and left nav, or a team responsible for the header, a team for the footer, and a team for the left nav. Like
Yep.
just really big, many teams working on all of this. And without nested routing, that's a really difficult thing to coordinate. And now you're starting to talk about micro front ends. And
That's what I was just gonna say.
so with Remix, if you want to share the screen again, we'll go to the customers.tsx.
Okay, I will say we have. I mean, if you want to go for another hour, it's up to you.
Yeah,
we
wanna
have
yeah.
the time,
I
but
want to spend time in mutations. So
Yep,
this
cool.
will accomplish our purposes, I think. So the customers here, this is responsible for everything you see on the left of the screen. Create new customer, the list of customers, all of that. And
Mhm.
there's nothing in here that cares anything about the children other than where they go, which I think is sufficient level of power for this parent, right? It says, if I have children, this is where they're going to go.
Mhm.
And then the customer ID, if you go to the customer ID route, in this component, there is nothing in here that says anything about its parent. It doesn't know anything about the parent. It doesn't care about the parent. It's not passing props. It's not loading data. It's not doing any of that stuff for the parent. This is
It's
really,
just
yeah, it's
Is
just
it
like,
just because the folder structure is called customers?
so that the association is created because of that. So like Remix, the Remix convention creates the routes based on that folder structure. But the key here, and so this would apply the same with Remix router without like Remix server and this folder convention. The key is that it's nested routing. And so what's really great about this is the customer ID route doesn't know anything about its parent, and the parent doesn't know anything about the child. And so you have two teams who are responsible for, like one team's responsible for the shell, and another team's responsible for a piece of the app. And
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the people in the chat. They're saying sounds like a rebellious team not caring about the parents.
that's right. We don't care.
I don't care.
Now, yeah. So, and the parent doesn't care about the child either. They're negligent. But this makes like this is significant because
It really is. That's
you don't need
incredible.
coordination. So who needs a micro front end? The only reason left to do a micro front end when you're using Remix is if you want to have independent deployability. You want to deploy separately from each other. Okay. I still don't quite understand why, but if that's what you want, then yeah, still micro
I
front
can
ends.
really see the value in this because you're, like you said, you're not passing data from the parent to the child. The child isn't giving, I mean, it is giving data to the parent, but the parent doesn't know about it.
Yeah, like
It all lives in this other file.
yeah.
Are you passing way less props like for all of
Yes,
this? Like you don't
way
have to
fewer
do
props. Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
yeah.
So you don't need provider, you don't need like I'm trying to rehash all
Yeah,
the
Yeah, I
You
think he
you
was mentioning
basically
that
don't
earlier.
use context,
Yeah.
except for like if you have a component library that's like a menu thing, you're probably gonna have context for those compound
Yeah.
components and stuff. But that's easy. Like
Yeah.
that's simple stuff. Or we're talking about application state management. There's nothing. We haven't used use state yet.
I know. I'm like blown away so far.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten into the really cool part, which is mutations, which I think we'll get into next. So if you go to create new customer, click on that. I think we'll actually get our catch boundary because we don't have our new TSX yet.
I'm sorry, create new customer.
In the app, if you click on create new customer at the top there.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so no customer with the ID of new. There is never going to be a customer with the ID of new. We want customer/new to show us a customer form. So let me again go through this and delete stuff that we are not going to be using for what we're doing here. Actually, and I won't give you the action yet either. So let me just, whoops, that.
I actually really like how Kent's like piecemealing this. Like we don't get lost in all of it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is helpful.
I think this is
and-
great.
I think this is really breaking it down actually without having to code all of this. And it looks nice because you've got the tailwind stuff in there.
I have to be like fully honest with you, Kent. Like I've gone through all the remix and like checked it out. I'm like, why is this any better than next? But now things are starting to finally
You've
like
got to
click
use
for
it.
me. I'm like, oh, I see. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
Where
this
does
file,
I shouldn't
components
say
go?
better or worse. It's just different.
this file that I sent you, put it in just in the app directory, just like next to db.server.
Okay.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, so you're going to need that for a couple of the
It's just updating there. I think everything's good. Yeah.
Here we go.
you're
And
good.
so this is the new customer route. So you'll put this in customers/new.tsx.
So in the customers directory,
Mhm.
a new file, and you
there.
said customers?
New.tsx.
Oh, new.tsx. Yep, get mad at me. Okay, now we have a form.
Sweet. And it looks nice. Thanks, Tailwind.
Yes.
Tailwind, love it.
Okay. So now if you were to fill this out and everything, hit create customer, it's going to make a fetch request, and it's going to say 4 or 5 not allowed because we're not actually handling any post requests to this particular URL. So
Okay.
so if you go to look at the code here, we'll look at that form. The form has a method of post. This is very reminiscent of the good old days of the web. You could actually, you know what, just for fun, let's lowercase that form. So don't use the component, use a lowercase f. So just a regular form.
Not from form. I do that all the time. And it didn't update this one. Okay.
Great comment from Mark here.
Okay. So this is just an HTML form now.
Yes, just a regular HTML form. You're still going to get a 405 because we aren't handling this. So we've talked about loading data. Now we want to talk about making changes to data. Okay, so we're going to make a action function. So you'll notice on the form there's that prop called or there is a prop you can provide to a form called action.
Yeah.
That action prop specifies where you want the post request to go. So you want it to go to the root route right now, or you want it to go to /API/whatever. For us, we want it to go to the current URL, right? And that's the default. So when you make a form and you don't provide an action, then it's going to make a request to the current route. If you don't provide a method, that request will be a get. and it will serialize the form values in the URL. Here we're saying we want this to be serialized in the post body, so let's do method post. With a regular form, you only have two options. It's either get or post. You can't do delete, you can't do put, you can't do any of that with a regular form. With the uppercase form, you can, but I recommend just do the regular post because that is progressive enhancement magic, which is nice. So it'll work whether or not JavaScript is on the page. And we can demonstrate that later. So if you go into line 3, we're going to add a function to this, and it is called action. And it's very similar to a loader. So it's
You have to export it.
Yep. Export async function action. And then this one, we actually need to get something. Yeah. No, thanks.
Not that.
We want to get a something from the request, right? Because now the request has our form stuff. In fact, here, comment that out for now, or don't save the file. Go back to the browser and open the DevTools.
Whoops.
Yeah, on new. Yep, there we go. And then if you type in, fill in, or go to the network tab. Start. We want to record what's going on in here. Don't.
Okay.
In Firefox, you gotta. Yeah, there we go.
This one?
Is that how does Firefox do? How do you do that?
I can open it in Chrome. I had it in Chrome earlier.
I think it'll work. If you just click create customer, I think we will see the request.
Okay. No.
No dice.
Nothing came into there.
Huh, that's weird. Yeah, how do you do?
Okay,
you can open up in Chrome. I don't know how to use Firefox stuff.
I don't either. Brittany's the only
I like
one
the
that uses
CSS
Firefox.
tools. No, I'm not. There are lots of people that use Firefox. Thank you very much. What were we at?
/customer/new.
New. Oh, wow. What did I do? I'm zoomed in. Okay. So now if we go here, this can be bumped down to the bottom. And network and record. Yeah, that is much easier.
Oh, you just turned it off.
Yeah, you don't.
Oh.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, Chrome is recording always. I don't know why Firefox isn't just always recording.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now let's look at the request that was made, and you'll look at the payload. So this is what was in the request, and the browser actually knows how to take what you have input and stick it in the payload. This happens automatically, whether or and what Remix is doing, since you're using the uppercase form and we've got JavaScript going, Remix just does the same thing the browser does. So if you change that to a lowercase form, you're going to see this request and it will look exactly the same.
Okay.
Like mostly the same. There's some implementation details here, but yeah, you're going to get the same experience. Yeah, you need to go back and you'll want to refresh. Or yeah, actually, I think that works. In any case, like the point is that the browser knows what to do about requests like this. It'll say, oh, you're submitting a form. Let me take all of the inputs of that form, one of which was actually a hidden input, by the way. That's where that intent create came from. And yeah, if you go up to the top, you'll have, or maybe it's at the, oh, no, it's the button that you clicked. So the submit button has a name, intent, and a value create. So because that's the button you pressed, or submitted, then that's the one that, that's the value. So yeah, so the browser is going to take that, put it in the request, and send that to the server. And so our action is going to take that request and get the form data out of that. Okay, that's what we're, that's what the last 5 minutes was me just explaining. That's what we're going to do. So your action function is going to accept an argument. And that argument is going to be an object that has a request property on it. And to make, so it's a full request.
You have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that the type for that request is going to be action arg. So here, I'll just give you that whole line so we don't have to worry about talking past each other or anything.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then the action args comes from, let me get that import for you too. Oh, that's not where it comes from. Never mind. Hold on. There we go.
Oh, from node. Okay. Okay. I'll change this back to form before I forget to do that.
It'll work either way. But let's leave it with the lowercase form for now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now to get the request, here's the cool thing. If you look at the type definitions for that request object, so hover over request, you'll see it's a request. If you click into it, and then click into request, the uppercase request there, that takes you right into the TypeScript definitions for fetch. So this is not a fancy Remix thing. This is just a regular request object that Remix is giving to you. Whether you're running on Netlify or Vercel or Express or whatever else, it always normalizes all of these requests and response objects to Fetch API.
The regular Fetch API. That is awesome.
Yes, it is. Because as you get better at using Remix, you're just getting better at the web platform, which I think is pretty rad.
That is.
So you can
the
close
more
all
we can
that.
Standardize to the web platform standards is better. There's so many different ways to do things, and standards.
Yes. So speaking of standards, there is a standard way to get things out of a request. People are probably familiar with request.json, but there's, or response.json. But we also have a request.form data. And so if you say request.form data, and that's a function that you're going to call, it's an async function. And that's going to give you a form data object. So assign that, and it's a promise, so you'll want to await it.
Okay, so
I just call it form data, or you could call it form.
And assign it, and it's async.
Yeah, so you'll await.
Oh, wait. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So
it's Friday.
Yeah. So the form data object, that also is just web platform stuff, because again, this is all just like the built-in objects. So form data, you can go to MDN to learn about how the form data API works. But yeah, it's an iterable. So you could iterate over all of the entries. You can say .entries to get everything, turn it into an object from entries. But we're not going to do any of that. We're going to say form data.get, and we're going to get the pieces of data that we want. So one piece of data. Yep. So you're going to say get, and then we want to get the name and the email. You could also get the intent to make sure that the request is being made properly. But no, this isn't how the API works actually. So when you call get, you pass it a string of the property that you want to get, the name of the property from the form data. And so for us, we're going to get the name.
A string, and then you said get the name.
Yep. And then that's going to return the name. So no extra params. No. Sorry. Maybe it'll be easier if I do this.
Name, email, like this?
I'm not looking now because I'm sending it to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, okay, let me start it.
Code
So
is hard sometimes.
name equal. Oh, I know. Form data.get, and this is a new API for me, so I'm not.
Yeah. Well, it's new for most people. It's been so long since we used the platform.
Yep.
I see. Yeah. I have never used it like this. I would normally, like you said, do the response.json and.
Yeah. But for us, this is encoded as URL encoded form data, which is the way that the form is going to be submitted by the browser by default. And so you can change it to, you can submit JSON if you wanted to. Like if you want to communicate straight from the client to some third-party endpoint that only takes JSON, then yeah, you totally can do that with Remix. But the default for Remix is a focus on progressive enhancement and the platform. And this is the way the platform does it. Now, if you don't like this form data.get, and that's like, oh man, what if we've got like 300 things? I don't want to have 300 lines. Then yeah, you can totally use form data.entries, use object.fromEntries, and boom, you've got an object. But most of the time, especially for smaller forms like this, I'll just do form data.get for everything.
Okay.
So now if you want a console log name and email, or just trust me, it works, we can move on to actually creating the customer.
You can go ahead and talk.
Yeah.
And we'll just see what it.
And then the name and email or those logs are going to show up on the server because, again, this code runs on the server. Yeah, it's warning because we're not returning anything we're supposed to. But if you look at the terminal that's running your server,
Oh, okay.
then you'll see that scroll up and boom, there it is.
Yes, there we go.
So connection, it has
So
connected.
it's running on the server side. That makes sense. That's why it didn't come through on the client.
Yeah. And this is
Okay.
great because let's say you're integrating with a third-party CMS or something, and you've got private keys. You don't need to make some sort of special API endpoint for hiding your private key. You're just like literally in the same file where the form is, and now you're writing server code. And so you can use that private key and not worry about leaking it out.
Yeah.
Or in our case, we're going to talk to the database. So we've got a function called create customer that you can use. That is from the customer.server in our models directory. And
where do we use that?
I sent you the import, and then you'll put it right under the just like
that.
Yep. And this is an async function. It's TypeScript is complaining here. I can TypeScript is stupid sometimes. Well, it's not stupid. TypeScript is totally right. So the thing is that as far as reality is concerned, that name and email can be one of a couple of things. It can be null, like the form wasn't submitted with that information. It could be a form data entry value, which is either a file or a string, because like the user could be uploading a file, right? So TypeScript is just saying, hey, create customer expects a string, but you're sending it null or a file or a string. So what is it? And so here's what we're going to do to fix that. You're going to import a package called tiny invariant, and then you're going to use this invariant stuff right before you call create customer.
I have not heard of this.
Yeah, invariant is actually, I don't know whether it was created by, it was at least made popular by the React team. And then somebody made a tiny invariant. So it's small with regard to bundle size.
I just changed that line because you had it set to a variable. So
Yeah. So that's working now. So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, if the type of name is a string, then everything's good. But if it's not, then we're going to say, throw an error. Now we could do better error handling here and send a response to the user and say, hey, this is messed up, but we are limited on our time. So we're just making TypeScript happy for now.
Okay.
So sweet. Now we've created a customer. We've got that customer. Let's redirect to that customer's page. We just created them, so they should have a page now. And so to save a little bit of time, here's just kidding. It's not /sales. We made that mistake before.
I'll fix it.
There we go.
Okay. And we just want to return, redirect, and we're redirecting. Where's redirecting coming from?
That should come from remix run node. So that, yeah. And you can delete the type on line 4. Yeah, that should work. So save that. And then come over. It's complaining because action args is only a type, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. So if you come back to the browser and submit the form, I want us to watch closely what happens. So
it worked.
There was nothing in our code to say, when there's a mutation, let's go and update that list of customers because it's wrong now. So let's set state, and here's my new customers and all that.
Oh,
it just boom, it's there. Magic. It's amazing.
Awesome.
You don't have to think about that. Oh, and here's another fun fact.
What just happened?
Yeah, what was that? It just worked. Oh my gosh. Here's another fun fact. You remember if you go back to the new.tsx.
Yeah. It's good OMG.
Yeah. If you go to the new.tsx file in the new customer component, and you'll see the form on line 22. That is a lowercase form.
Yeah, so
We
it's
were
just
not using JavaScript to submit that form data.
and there's no action posted here either. So it just knows to use this action
Yeah,
function.
Remix is handling that request and it says, oh, here's the route that you're posting to. I know which action to post to. So what's happening here is I just showed you progressive enhancement and that you don't need state management with Remix. No state management. The thing works without JavaScript. So it must be able to work without state management. And it does. And it's amazing.
Wow.
But we do want to have JavaScript. We don't want to do just a regular form because that's going to do a full page refresh. And that's stupid. Who wants that? Not me. So let's change that form to an uppercase form again. And now that is going to just do a fetch request. So you can make another new customer. And the entire experience is the same, except this time no full page refresh.
That's going to... Good thing it's not sending emails because that might be someone's actual email.
That poor Alex. So there you go. No state management, no like weird API routes, no indirection, no use effect, all just like regular web APIs. And
this kind of makes me like React.
I know. That's the like. It gets rid of all of the things you.
I don't have to use the use state hooks. I don't have to use effect. I haven't used anything that I'm like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah. Yep. So that's Remix for you. It's pretty rad.
Pretty rad.
I forgot we weren't on the screen. I was like looking at y'all. We're all like happy. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, we could get into stuff like pending UI and optimistic UI. Things aren't always fast, but that's like these are the main things that make Remix so special. Like everything we've done so far doesn't even need JavaScript in the browser. It's when we. So if you were shipping just this and you were happy with this experience, then I would say just delete if you go actually into the root.tsx file.
The index?
No, it should be in the not in the routes directory. Scroll down below components. Yeah, root.tsx. So this is the thing that's responsible for the entire app. Like this is the first component that's rendered. If you scroll down.
So this is like the app for React, like the app.
So you got you're rendering HTML here, like the HTML element. You don't typically do that in React apps, but you do that here. On line 41, there's a scripts tag or a scripts element. That is responsible. 41.
Oh, yep.
That is responsible for all of the JavaScript getting onto the page. So it renders out all the script tags for all the modules and everything that we're loading. You could comment that out. And the entire app experience will still work. You go refresh the browser, you click between those links, and you go create a new customer. Everything still works. And so if you were happy with this experience, like one nice thing is that this the browser will show a pending UI. The favicon will spin. Like mobile browsers will have the little status thing that goes across, whatever. So like this is actually a better experience than having the scripts because we haven't actually thought about pending UI yet, right? So if you were done and you're like, oh, I don't have time to think about loading spinners, for like slow network or whatever, then I would just disable the scripts and let the browser handle that for me.
So how is this updating this without the JavaScript?
Okay, so the way that it works, what's happening is you submit the form that goes to the backend. Remix is like, oh, here's the route. You're making a post. Let me find the action. Let me run the action with the request and all of that. You update the database, and then you send a redirect response. That redirect response goes back to the browser. The browser's like, oh, you want me to go somewhere else? Let me go to where that location header says. So now it's making another request to your server to get that new location. Your server's like, oh, sweet, I know that. Let me go look up that customer in the database that I just barely created. We generate some HTML and send that back to the browser. So that's how it works.
It's like old PHP days.
Yeah, that's exactly what PHP used to do. Yep. Now, what's cool though is that this is way better than PHP because we can uncomment that scripts tag, and now we can start adding stuff like pending UI and spinners and optimistic UI, like adding a new customer before they're actually created in the database. All sorts of really cool things we can do without having to like duplicate templates. You know, you've got your PHP version of the template and your JavaScript version of the template, or you've got like you have to sprinkle JavaScript in or whatever. By adding that scripts tag, all of a sudden you've got all of the power of React, and it's all the exact same code that's running on the server and the client. And so you can say, oh, if the user just submitted a form, let me add this new customer to this list, just optimistically, because we're going to assume it's going to work. And then when it's done, Remix will automatically go and update the data, and that new customer will be in the new data that you just got. So the optimistic stuff naturally goes away. New customer is there. It just, what's cool about Remix is that it gives you the mental model of the late 90s, early 2000s, but the power of 2022.
Yeah.
I kind of thought all along like that's what the static piece was giving me, and then the like rehydration and client side, but like this is even closer to that web standard, I guess. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that,
I want to make sure we don't miss this, and
Yeah,
I think we just covered that, but I want to make sure I'm not reading it incorrectly.
Yeah. Okay. So when doing a progressive enhancement, say I want client transitions, but it required the response before it can animate. Yeah. Okay. So like, let's say that I think I might be misunderstanding that question, actually.
Yeah, I might too.
So let's say we're creating a new customer and we're going to redirect them over to the customer's page, right? Or something. Actually, can I share my screen?
Yeah.
I think we can skip ahead to the end here. And I can show you what the end state is of what you can do with Remix. So this is a different app that you can actually use. It does actually work. You can create an account and everything, but it's the good old to-do MVC, if you remember that. So I can make a new to-do, and this is great. And I have it coded where if you include the word error in your to-do, then that will throw an error and say to-dos cannot include the word error. So maybe you cannot use this for your own to-do list because you'll never be able to use the word error. But here's the cool thing, and I think this touches on what the question is. How do you do pending UI when like there's an element of web application development that you do not control, and that is the user's speed of their browser, right? Or speed of their network, right? Even the user doesn't always control that. And so you do have to think about pending UI. So if I slow this down and I say, here, let me actually, we're not going to slow it down. I don't want to spoil this. So we're going to, here, we'll toggle them all. We'll clear them all. And here, we'll just do a full refresh. Okay, so now if I slow this down, watch this. I'm on a slow 3G network. If I do that to like to Twitter, slow 3G, I'm sitting here waiting for spinners and all of this stuff too. I'm going to leave Twitter up though because I want to use it for something else. So I'm on a slow 3G network. This means that network requests are going to take at least 2 seconds is what the browser will do. Why then is this so fast? And check. It's all super fast.
What?
Why is it so freaking fast?
And there's some errors in there too.
Yeah, we have some errors here. I can delete this. I can clear the completed. I can do all of these things. And the whole experience is feels like I'm on a really fast network. So what we're doing is optimistic UI. This is Twitter does the same thing. So if let's not make it slow. No, thanks. I don't need notifications from Twitter.
More notifications.
Okay, so this is a test. I open that up and I say I favorite that. And then here, actually, and let's slow this down. If I unfavorite it on a slow 3G network, that's going to take at least 2 seconds, right? But it instantly is gone. right? It's instantly unfavorited. This is optimistic UI. It's a really common practice for the web. It's not as common as it should be. But the problem with optimistic UI is, what if your optimism is misplaced? So I delete this tweet, and then I try to unfavorite it, and it instantly unfavorites. And then Twitter's like, oh, actually, sorry, that tweet was deleted. You can never unfavorite it. You've favorited that tweet forever.
I see this in Twitter all the time, and I thought it was like buggy.
Yeah, no. So like, what do you do when you're Twitter and somebody's on a tweet that has already been deleted? What they are trying to do is they're trying to say, hey, let's just make this seem like it's really fast, because 99.9% of the time this is going to work. And so we'll just automatically make it look like it's done. And then if it's not, we'll roll it back and we'll say, sorry, give an error message. So that's the same thing that I've implemented over here. We have optimistic UI. So it is fast. And even though you can see in the network tab, like those requests are taking at least 2 seconds to complete. And then for like what makes optimistic UI really hard is fallback. So if your optimism was misplaced, the tweet was deleted or whatever, then how do you fall back to a state where the user knows that, oh, like something was messed up and I've got to fix it, or you bring the state back to where it was before. And so I've implemented that here, so I can say 1 error 2 3, and then when error comes back and says, hey, that's not allowed, it just pops right back in and it says, hey, to-dos cannot include the word error. So now I can fix it, and it will try again.
Kent, what happens if you shut off your network and just put fast in?
Yeah. If I'm not connected, then you have to start thinking about like offline mode for your app. And Remix doesn't currently do anything.
I just didn't know if it would drop in and then pop out.
Yeah, so I haven't programmed anything in here for handling when fetch fails.
That's the stuff we deal with Firebase all the time. That's why I was kind of curious.
Yeah. So Firebase implements Remix if you want to, but yeah, offline this is not. This is just managing slow networks, and it does a pretty darn good job of it, I must say. So
now we just need to start using Quick, have Mish go on and put Quick with Remix. We'll be all set.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I have opinions about all of this. I'm not. Whoa.
Oh, Inception.
Yeah.
I like opinions.
Yeah, I'm still unconvinced that we're chasing the biggest bang for our buck here with this stuff. I feel like you get a lot more headway on key metrics for most apps if you focus on just making the server faster. And a lot of people are like, so I guess I should say, if you are client-side rendering, your app is just client-side only, then there are so many other things that you can do to make your app faster before starting to think about the 20 milliseconds you could save on the initial render, right? Yep. Even if it is that, like on a slow device. So like, for example, stop just client rendering and bring in a server. That will make the user experience way better. And then when you get to the server rendering, now with React, we've got the streaming API, and that has some really, really awesome capabilities with it. That is partial hydration, by the way, selective hydration as well. It's so yeah, a lot of the things that are being worked on, I think are good that they're being worked on. But I am still not convinced that it's going to make that much of a difference for most people. So we shall see. I welcome them to rebuild, like we did with Next.js. I welcome them to rebuild one of our demos in their thing and show us the actual metrics of how it's faster.
I do have to say, I really enjoy those comparisons, like where you actually build an app and you show it in different frameworks. I like those.
Yeah,
I love the back and forth too, because like having worked with a lot of those guys, it's very interesting to see like opinions on one side and opinions on the other, and then just raw comparisons from
Right.
like Ryan Carniato and those
I was
folks
gonna say
like
that
just talking.
Solid and Quick and Remix have like made these conversations like come to the forefront, and starting these are like the way to evolve the web to a better
Mhm.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Remix is really onto something here, with the focus on the web platform, and just creating an amazing developer experience. We didn't get time to talk about streaming and the new deferred API that's coming up in the next week or two with Remix, but like that will really take things to the next level. Unfortunately, there are limited hosts that will stream for you. So anybody built on top of AWS will not stream. So you cannot
Oh,
use React 18 streaming on top of AWS. Luckily, Netlify just released the Edge functions with
Yep.
Dino, and Dino does support streaming.
Yep.
So that's exciting.
that'll be interesting because Vercel's all AWS, right?
Yeah. So Vercel also just released a while ago their Edge functions, which is wrapping Cloudflare, and
Yep.
Cloudflare supports streaming.
Okay.
That's
So
true. I guess when you get
that,
to the edge like that, it can really change.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
like the lambdas and stuff are what are underneath. I think Netlify runs on AWS Lambda too for the
The
server side.
serverless functions do,
yeah,
Yep.
but
yeah.
the
But if you're using
edge
Edge
functions run
functions,
on Dino.
yeah.
Yep. That's
So
interesting. I
yeah, so
found a
just
few hiccups
keep
with
that in
going
mind. Like,
Dino, but
um, just not every app needs streaming.
yeah.
Because like the only time you need streaming is when your backends are slow. Like you're hitting some backend that is slow for some reason, and there are good reasons where you couldn't speed things up. Like you're doing some computation that just like it's hard to make this computation fast. It's impossible to cache it or whatever. But that's the only time where streaming actually is useful. Otherwise, you just do a regular HTML render, and you're like 150 milliseconds, and it's fine.
Let
Mhm.
me ask you something too about this. If we have this app deployed to Fly.io, that's a single server in one location, right? It's not like a
Yeah,
CDN.
that's the way that the Indie stack is configured. But the Blue stack is configured to be able to deploy it to multiple regions, and they have something like 35 regions all over the world.
And so you could deploy it to multiple of those, not just one.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's what I was going to get to, is that deploying to the edge. What is the time difference? Would that be faster than having that single server location?
Yeah, it and probably would. So these are things to really measure. But what's cool about Fly in particular is that because they have all of those regions all over the world, whether or not you've deployed to that region, the user, wherever they are, they're going to go to the region that's closest to them, whether or not
Mhm.
your app is there. And then from that region, it will stay on Fly's network and go
It
find,
bounces.
yeah, it bounces around to get to the region where your app is deployed. That network is like really fast. And so it's much better than the user having to go through their own, whatever infrastructure their ISP has to get to that. And maybe some of that infrastructure will actually be shared. But yeah, for whatever that is, the Fly infrastructure will get it there probably faster. And so that's one cool thing, is even if you don't leverage the multi-region support, you're still in a pretty good place from that perspective. But yeah, like if you're going from Hong Kong to Virginia, US East or something, then yeah, there is definitely some latency there. And so deploying to the edge does matter if like 100 milliseconds means millions of dollars for you, right?
Yeah.
Where e-commerce, that's
E-commerce
big for
apps.
them.
Yep.
Yeah. So for those use cases, deploying to multiple regions is really nice. And Fly also, with the Blue stack, it's configured with Postgres, and Fly supports Postgres clusters, so it'll automatically propagate changes to all of the other databases within like 200 milliseconds or less. When a change is made to the primary, it goes to all the other ones really pretty quick. And so, and actually, the other thing is, you could one concern that people have is, the GDPR stuff where data has to be stored in the country where the user's at or whatever.
Mhm.
So you can do that with Fly as well, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, deploying to the edge, it matters for some people. For others, it really, like, if it's a matter of 500 millisecond difference, then it probably is not a huge deal.
Nice.
Cool. I think we could probably pick Kent's brain all day long on Remix, but it really makes me want to try more of it now, though, just to
I
at least understand and be knowledgeable on kind of more questions to ask. I keep thinking about, like, I feel like we've rewritten Coding Cat a million times over, back end, front end, and we were talking about like SvelteKit, but SvelteKit, we were having a lot of issues.
SvelteKit is just going through a
Very-
lot of API changes right now. It's coming up to 1.0, and they're doing a lot of API changes that are a little frustrating for the users right now, but we'll get through it. There's another big one coming that Rich posted about today. It's causing some uproar in the community.
I feel like the biggest thing for me, though, is still React and frustrations with React. Do you find that there's less of that with Remix?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
especially with
Yeah.
state management?
Yeah, the frustrations that people have with React don't really
I can
exist in
see
Remix.
it.
Yeah.
Just today, like, I
Yeah.
can see it here. Like, I am very outspoken, not really a fan of React, and they know this on this show, sorry. But this developer experience is much better and makes me feel better about using React and JSX. I
Mm.
can deal with this.
Yeah, well, and one of our employees who's working on the router, one of the big reasons that he is so excited about it is because he actually prefers Vue, and
Yeah.
so he's absolutely going to be building a Vue version of Remix, and so. And again, Austin was working on the Svelte router for Remix, and so there could be a Svelte version of Remix. And we are actively doing work on some other things to make it easier to integrate Remix with other build tools and other things as well. I don't want to talk too much about that because we haven't shipped anything. We try to avoid
Yeah.
talking about
Sure.
stuff we haven't shipped yet. But yeah, so look forward to things. If you started with React today, with Remix today, and started doing React, then in a couple of months, if probably by that time we'd support other frameworks, it wouldn't be like a lot of work to switch.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just the UI, like how you render HTML. So that's not very complicated to switch from JSX to whatever else you want to use, templates or
Yeah,
whatever.
it sounds like a lot of exciting things are coming in the pipeline.
Maybe I could go back to my Angular roots and still use Remix somehow. That'd be kind
Yeah,
of
I mean, somebody put together an Angular router with the Remix router. So if you want to,
Austin is doing a talk on the Remix router Svelte at Svelte Summit, and I'm really excited to see that.
that's cool. I didn't know that.
And,
Good for him.
and I haven't announced it on here yet. I'm going to announce that I'm actually co-emceeing the Svelte Summit
Oh,
conference. So
congrats.
I am so excited about that. We talked about it on
Woo.
Svelte Radio yet. It's not out yet, but it'll be announced soon.
That's awesome.
it's super exciting.
Congratulations.
That'll be sweet. I think that's probably it for Remix. I know B1 Mind has some more questions on optimistic UI. Hopefully hit us up in the Learn Build Teach
Yeah,
Discord.
actually, you know what? I did. I gave a talk that went into optimistic UI quite a bit. So let me find a link to that, and I'll put it in the
Cool.
Whatever chat thing.
I was also going to ask, I finally have remembered to raid, and I only see 2 people kind of out there. Did you want me to raid to you somehow, Brittany?
No, it's okay because I'm not
All
going to stream
15
right after
people?
this. I got to go check on my kids. They're
Cool.
running amok downstairs right now. I can hear it.
Okay, thanks so much for coming on. If I can like pin you right now since you're on live, will you come back on once we learn more and can kind of ask you harder questions?
Yeah, I'd love to come back and dive in deeper. Like so far, we've done like what can you do without JavaScript. I'd like to talk about, okay, now we have JavaScript on the page. What JavaScript does it take to make this experience even better than just what the browser can do?
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Yeah,
Let's schedule it
100%.
up. Cool.
Cool. Sounds great.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Happy
Hang on.
weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right,
Bye.
later.
Take care. I need my music now. Do 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 do.